Finding safe, affordable housing is becoming increasingly difficult in Antigonish and across Nova Scotia. A home is considered unaffordable when it costs more than 30% of a household's income. Yet here in Antigonish, some individuals and families are spending more than half of their income just to afford rent. This housing crisis is pushing more people into precarious situations. Right now, there are people in Antigonish experiencing homelessness. In rural communities, homelessness often looks different than it does in cities. It could mean couch surfing, sleeping in vehicles, or staying in unsafe, makeshift conditions. What makes this crisis even more urgent is the lack of support infrastructure. Antigonish is one of only 3 counties in Nova Scotia with no emergency shelter beds. That means for those who lose their housing, there is nowhere to turn, not even for a night. When housing becomes unaffordable or unavailable, everything else becomes harder, like keeping a job, staying in school, raising a family, and maintaining your health. Safe, stable housing is the foundation on which lives are built. And right now, that foundation is cracking for far too many.
Okay, so my name is Colleen Cameron. I'm a member of the Antigonish Coalition to End Poverty. I have been for a number of years. I'm involved with food security and community garden boxes. And I've been involved with the Antigonish Affordable Housing Society for a good number of years as chair of the board.
My name is Sveta Kendra, and I'm the executive director of A Roof Over Your Head. We did have a client who had a very important medical appointment and she needed surgery, and they could not go ahead with the surgery even though it was impacting her every day. She was dealing with a lot of pain, couldn't work, but was also without a steady address. So she had nowhere that she could go to recuperate and heal. So they said it wasn't safe for her to have the surgery. There's a lot of people who, need secure, reliable housing.
I get regular calls from people looking for affordable housing. They're going to be evicted. Their landlords are evicting them because there's family members moving in, or they're doing renovations, and they really don't have any place to go. There's people living in units that are full of mold, and the landlords are not fixing. And more people are calling now than before. It seems to be getting worse in terms of affordability, and people are finding the rents are going up so high in other places. They're now looking for housing with us that's more affordable. There's a lot of challenges in this community, and people that are working full-time trying to find affordable housing. It's stressful. It's very stressful. Affordable housing means some people are paying far a greater portion of their income to pay for their housing. It's set at 30% by the federal government. If you're paying more than that, then your housing is not affordable. Some people are paying 50, 60% of their income. So that means they're cutting back on food. They're cutting back on anything for the kids, any extras. It's a very stressful thing to be able to try to figure out budget-wise if you're paying that much of your income on housing. And then if one thing goes wrong, you get a flat tire and you have to get the tire changed and pay for that. There's an expense you're not expecting.
Concerned about where they're going to be tonight impacts every aspect of what they try to accomplish in a day. So not having a roof over their head, or not knowing if they're going to have a roof over their head next week or next month, or just the state of housing right now is creating a lot of uncertainty for a lot of people. If we can't make sure that people are getting their basic needs met, we can't expect them to be able to be successful and thrive. thrive in our community. It impacts absolutely everything. And, we're dealing with people who are, again, paycheck to paycheck and can't necessarily feed themselves the way they really need to.
Again, as I mentioned before, stress is probably the biggest thing that people are facing. Poor quality housing, where there's air problems, mold, that kind of thing, leaking, cold, that affects their physical health. You have people that are living in older homes with stairs and they can't do stairs. There's a lot of different things. I would speak from the point of being a housing provider, affordable housing provider. There's a lot of challenges, particularly accessing the funding through the governments. We do all of the work as volunteers. It takes a big toll. It takes a lot of work to do that. Making the process easier, give us the money, we'll do the work. That would make things a whole lot easier if they just did that.
The folks that we see that are chronically homeless really require wraparound services. And so they need the supports and services to really kind of build them up, build confidence, build, social skills. They've been isolated. They deal with a lot of stigma. To see the value and the importance of supportive housing in this community, we don't have anywhere for people who are struggling with mental health crisis or addictions challenges in our community. And those are the people that are hardest to house right now. Most people are not willing to take that risk. And I think with the proper supports and services, they can have success. Basic income would go a long way. Income assistance rates are simply not livable rates. It's poverty wages. There's no way that people can live off income assistance rates. It's just not feasible. Keeping market rates at a certain level that is affordable so that we don't have to just keep increasing basic income in order to keep people happy. I think we need to start regulating things a bit more and paying attention. I think, this is a reflection of capitalism, but it's also a reflection of corporate greed. And we can't just keep supplementing and lining the pockets of corporations. I think we need to start keeping them in check and regulating them.
I would like to see the governments, and particularly the provincial government, do more, invest more in public housing. Because we're doing the affordable housing, not the transition housing, not the homeless housing shelters, but the affordable housing. But there is a need. There's a lot of people on very low income, and there is a need to look after them. And to expect the community members to do it all is too much. So I would like to see some policies where the governments are really taking a lot of responsibility for housing, and work with the communities. Don't download, but work with the communities so that we can make our communities better. The health of everyone in our community affects everyone. So when you have people living in poverty, without proper housing, food, income, that has ripple effects throughout our whole community. A lot of people now are moving into the poverty range. We have to think about stigma, and there should be no difference. Everyone belongs in this community, and we need to support everyone, because when everyone's not supported, the community is not supported. So we are one community. We need to work together on this.
Homelessness is very much a reality in Antigonish. We are a very strong community, but I think we are less comfortable talking about the things that we may not be doing well. And I think right now, we are not serving our population well when it comes to housing. You need emergency plans in place, which involves emergency housing, transitional housing, and supportive housing, because no one plans for this. A lot of people are a lot closer to homelessness than not. There is a need for emergency housing, transitional housing, and supportive housing. That's what makes a healthy community, and we need those systems in place so that when it happens, we're ready.